All right, folks. Well, thank you and welcome once again to today's program, the next installment of the Maximum Performance webinar series. Of course, my name is Janeczko. I am the head coach and CEO of Maximum Acceleration, the professionals coaching company. And this series was launched as an educational webinar series back in October of 2012 with the intent of bringing together a community of learning for folks who are dedicated to growing and refining their skill and ability as an originator and trying to perfect and refine those skills to allow them to perform at a substantially higher level. And that's why we call it the Maximum Performance Webinar Series. Of course, quick check, we are going to be doing an interactive program today, so make sure you're able to access the audio or the question section of the panel. That's going to be the best way to communicate with myself and our guest presenter today. And of course, a reminder that audio typically you get the best overall audio experience if you use the telephone option, which you'll find instructions in the control panel to the right side of your screen. But I don't want to waste any time today getting to the meat of our program. Our guest presenter today is Mr. Rene Rodriguez, who is CEO and founder of BetterLoanOfficers.com, who's going to be sharing with you some of what he's taught me, and I've had the blessing and honor of working with him to share with our coaching clients over the past couple of years. But just before I open up the program and get into Rene's presentation, which is going to be highly insightful to you, but also an opportunity to kind of preview a little bit about what Rene is going to be talking about at the NAMB National Conference. Of course, this year again, for the third year in a row, we are working with and helping support NAMB, the Association of Mortgage Professionals, at their convention, which is coming up on September 13th through the 15th, just barely over a week away. We're going to be at the Luxor in Las Vegas. There are still tickets available for that that are only $345 in advance. Otherwise, at the door, you'll be paying $397 for those tickets. Of course, myself, we're going to be at booth number 430 with the team at Maximum Acceleration, as well as Rene and his team at BetterLoanOfficers.com are going to be presenting at the event. And as we've done in the previous couple of years, we're pleased and honored to be able to provide you this year's action guide for the conference. And so just a quick preview, and by the way, you're welcome to use this before this convention or at any other convention, by the way. After today's webinar, we'll be providing access to how you can get a digital copy of the action guide we use. And the reason we use this action guide is because at every stage of growth, there's different layers to it, or different critical focus areas to the growth of any mortgage business. When we originally launched Maximum Acceleration back in 2004 as a division of the Loan Toolbox organization, we organized a strategic planning model based on what we call the pyramid of the complete loan officer. You know, every stage of growth in this business, when you're trying to go from 0 to 3 or 4 loans a month, or from 3 to 5 loans a month to 6 to 7 loans a month, or from 8 to 10 loans a month to 15 or 20 loans a month. At every stage of growth, you experience a new layer of complexity and challenge that require you to refine your skill and ability at one of these various different 4 base critical focus areas. Of course, the essential knowledge is just basic. How do you structure a loan? What are the guidelines? What works, what doesn't work? And how do you package and calculate what it takes to get a loan done? Of course, once you graduate past that level, then you start working on and refining your skill at selling and presentation. How do you differentiate yourself from your competition and communicate or create more value for your customers, therefore winning a higher percentage of those opportunities and more value or profitability per loan? Third layer is the marketing. How do you grow your business? In other words, find more people who need your services. And where we separate the two is marketing is about lead generation. Selling and presentation is about lead conversion. Of course, you get to a strong level, most originators start to hit a ceiling of around 7 or 8 loans a month, and then you've got to flip and start thinking of yourselves as more of a mortgage practitioner or the manager or owner or leader of a mortgage production team, because past 8, 9, 10 loans a month, it's very hard to duplicate yourself and reach those higher levels of performance production unless you do start to think more as an executive level function about how to refine and expand your team to support you. So what we do at the conferences and events that we've been doing now for the better part of 10 years is we've developed a very efficient system for taking notes. So whether you're going to the NAMB National Conference or whether you're listening to Rene's program today, I encourage you to think about the things that you're taking notes on, but take notes in a different way. Take action-oriented notes, notes that focus on what you would do with those key ideas or strategies that you hear in this program and in any of the programs that you'll get at this conference or any others. Then as you're thinking through them, sort them based on those 4 different primary categories of growth. Is it a sales or lead conversion strategy? Is it a marketing or lead generation strategy? Is it an operational efficiency, or is it a personal productivity strategy? Make quick note of that next to that on the notes pages in the action guide. Categorize them as you go, and then at the end of the presentation, take a few minutes to identify what were the 1 or 2 best ideas that you want to implement first out of that program. And then, of course, at the conference, we'll walk you through a little bit more of how to take those ideas, concepts, and package them into a strategic plan that you make sure gets implemented. But that being said, I'm looking forward to the program that Mr. Rene is going to share with us today, and more in depth at the live conference in Las Vegas in about a week. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand over to our guest presenter today, because I know he has a wealth of information. I know I personally learned a tremendous amount from this gentleman. He's been a personal friend and mentor to mine, to me and the team here at Maximum Acceleration for many, many years. And just his background and knowledge base in the area of neurological science and how to accelerate people's learning curve and development curve. And what he's going to share with us today, I know is going to be profound and very valuable to you. So stay tuned, listen, and learn what you can to grow your business and accelerate trust as we listen to what Rene has to share.
Awesome. And Eric, just do a quick sound check. Can you hear me okay?
I am hearing you just fine now, and I'm trying to get the little bug back up that allows me to flip screens. Hold on, it likes to hide itself on my computer, so bear with me a second, Rene, while I'm working on flipping this around to where you're ready to show your screen.
Not a problem. I switched over to the other mic and speaker, so I just want to make sure that you can still hear me okay.
Yep, we're good. Great. I'm ready to flip to you for your presentation if you're ready to take over at this stage. Okay, Rene?
We're ready to go. All right. See my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, I want to welcome everybody here today and thank Eric and the team over at Maximum Acceleration for putting this on. I'm very excited about this. We've got a fun event coming up at the NAMB National where we'll be the opening keynote for the event and around a lot of other very, very good information, good professionals, and just good networking, and good community with people in the industry. So today, Eric has asked me to give sort of an overview, very quick rundown of what the topic is we're going to be discussing. And it's this concept of the psychology of trust is something that I've talked about for many years, over 10 years. And now we've added this concept of what's the psychology of trust in the digital age, where what I used to know and what I used to teach and what I used to talk about has been completely turned on its head. And today I want to share a story with you that kind of gives a backdrop to that. But before I even get into that story, we are all in this business, and all in the business of selling and building relationships, working with realtors and referral partners and clients, and they're trusting you with very important transactions. They're trusting you with very important information. And there, unfortunately, and maybe for some fortunately, for the consumer fortunately, there's a lot of choices out there in terms of who they can use and who they can work with. And the question we wrestle with every day is, why would somebody work with us, and why is that over everyone else? Why is it that they want to work with us? And so today I want to give you this overview of what do we mean by the psychology of trust in this digital age. And as we know, that trust is that thing we have to create, and there's a simple definition of trust being the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And so when we think of trust, that's what we want our clients to feel. That's what we want our referral partners to feel with us, and our family relationships. Very important that we're reliable, we speak the truth, and we have the ability to do something, and we're strong enough to withhold the tough parts and the tough times. And so this whole concept of trust in the digital age, though, has completely changed. I know I think we've all done it. We've learned about trust building through our behavior, things about being predictable and being reliable, authentic, and trusting, and honest, and vulnerable, and consistent. All those things were pieces that we know if we did that, we would earn the ultimate test of truth with trust, which would be that ultimate referral, when we get that personal referral. And we know that, and I used to always teach, and we used to always talk about that the ultimate goal is if you can get a client to be an advocate of yours, to say, hey, before you go and buy this car, I need you to talk to X, Y, and Z. Before you get this mortgage, I need you to talk to my person over here. And they become that advocate for you. And if you've done your job in building trust through behavior and being predictable, reliable, authentic, trusting, all those things, we've earned that piece. We've also learned about building trust through body language and the way we stand. That, you know, the way we stand, the way we look, our eye contact, handshakes, arm posture, distance, all of these things play a crucial role in trust. I think we've all been experienced that person that didn't understand those boundaries, maybe stood a little bit too closely, or didn't understand the boundaries and had their arms crossed, and somehow gave us that feel of, you know what, even within just 10 seconds or 5 seconds or 3 seconds of meeting them, we just didn't trust them. And so not only is our behavior important, but our body language is also going to be important. And so I'm not going to go into this because I would pretty much guarantee that almost everybody on this phone call understands trust at that level. And I want to share with you today in the story of what it was that completely turned my thinking, my career, my consulting company, everything on its head, because this one experience really summed up what has changed in this world of trust within our industry. And so I want to tell you a story. I had, before I want to give you this picture, when we talk about trust too, it's a lot of times this word that we talk about so often can be misconstrued, interpreted differently. It's almost like looking at painting or looking at art, where one person can look at this thing, they can see the rocks, and they can see the trees and the reflection off the water, and one, maybe a professional, can articulate different things and what it means and the emotion behind the painter, where some of us just say the simplicity of it. But sometimes when we look at things that we've seen for our entire lives, it requires us to take a different peek or a different perspective at this concept or this painting or this concept of trust that we've seen our entire life, to see that maybe there's something else there. And so this is what happened to me, and kind of what happened. You see a mother and their child in the prayer stance there, that how trust was. It was something that I thought I had a really good grip of. But when I was forced to take a look at it from a different perspective, I realized there was a whole other element that if I ignored would completely ruin all the work that I had done. And so I want to kind of say that bold statement, that what I'm going to be sharing with you today is one of those pieces that, if ignored, could completely derail all the activities and all the positive energy, all the positive things you've done to build a trusting relationship. But we have this new component, this new piece that really has to be taken a look at. So I'll tell the story. Basically, my cousin was getting married. This has happened about 4 months ago. And he was getting married, and we were looking at having, it was a destination wedding. He was getting married in Almirada, Florida. And I wasn't very familiar with hotels in Almirada, so it's the first thing that I did. I went to Google and I typed in Almirada hotels. And of course, first thing that popped up are the hotels along with their ratings. Cool, it was helpful, it was nice, and I went and searched and searched and searched, and I spent about a half an hour, and I said, you know what, let me go back to the trusted, true, personal referral. So I went on Facebook and I asked for a referral. I basically said, hey, has anybody out there been to Almirada? I'm looking for a hotel. Can anybody give me a recommendation? And what I got back was simple. I mean, somebody jumped in and they said, hey, go look at Harbor Lights Motel. It was great. It was affordable. And it was awesome. So the first thing that I did was I jumped on Google, not to look for reviews, but I went to go look for pictures. I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see if they had a tour or what the rooms looked like and the beds looked like. But the first thing that popped up was the reviews. And if you look closely, the first thing that I saw here was this review: rude, dirty, and cheap. Now, here I have a dilemma. I've got a personal referral, somebody that I trusted, telling me that here's a place that they wanted to go. It's now I go online and I see an anonymous review from somebody that I do not know telling me this is rude, dirty, and cheap. So the question is, who do I trust? Do I go to trust a personal trusted referral of the person that I know, or do I go trust an online review that's anonymous? And when I was in this process, and I want you to think about this, because this is what happens to most of us in this new world, where we have a trusted referral, but now we have this new energy out, this new force out there of these reviews where people can go online and tell about their experience. And so here I've got this way, I'm like, which one do I use? Now, here's the thing. I wasn't aware that I was in this dilemma while I was in it. That's the scariest part. I wasn't even aware that I was struggling with this. I wasn't even aware that I had a choice of who to trust. I just had an experience and I just acted. And the thing is that I always tell my clients, and I tell people that I train all the time, that we have to be students of our own behavior. We have to be students of our buying behavior. We have to be students of how it is that we fall for a value proposition or not. And about a week to 2 weeks afterwards, I replayed this event, and it dawned on me what happened. So who is it that I trusted? I went back and forth, and I ended up not trusting the personal referral. And I went, for some reason, and I trusted this online anonymous referral review. So what ended up happening, it wasn't that I said, oh, I don't trust him, I'm going to go with his review. It wasn't a conscious process. It was basically, when I saw this, my mind went, wow, have they seen the reviews? Wow, it must have been years ago that this person went there. Man, look at this. I can't believe that they didn't see this. Or maybe he and I have different taste. But I went through all of these different rationales to rationalize the fact that I trusted this anonymous review over what I thought was the most coveted thing in our industry, which was the trusted referral. So now, here's what I'm saying with this. I'm not saying that personal referrals are lost and gone. Not at all. They're still one of the most important things out there. What I'm saying is that this company, the Harbor Lights Inn, did something really good. We must have treated this individual really well, enough for them to be an advocate to give them their recommendation and their referral. So they did something right. Now, where Harbor Lights Motel messed up was they didn't understand that there's another force out there of these online reviews. And they didn't manage that review process, or they must have done something to other folks enough for them to say that it was rude, dirty, and cheap. And so what ended up happening is they did all the right things with body language and the thing with this individual to build trust, but they missed.
Hey folks, it looks like the GoToWebinar system is having some challenges today with the operational flow of today's programming. Rene, I don't know if you're listening in the background or if you're able to get signed back in. Guys, I'm not sure exactly what happened with the system, but Rene's connection has been discontinued, and I'm going to be watching for him to jump back online here in just a minute to restore his connection. Once he is back on the line with us, obviously we'll resume the programming. Guys, a big part of what Rene is going to be sharing, a little bit later in the webinar, once we get the connections back on place, is basically why it.
All right, come back on, Rene. Where'd you guys lose me?
You were talking about online reputation, and pretty much at the same slide. You've only been gone about 15 seconds at this point, so let me get it flipped back to you. Not sure what was happening with the GoToWebinar system, guys. My apologies on the technology here. Gotta love technology when it works right, but
well, let's just keep moving. We've all been there. So basically, and is going back to, and I'm not sure. Hopefully, you didn't leave this. I was struggling with this piece of who do I trust, and the reality was that this company had done something right, which was they treated the person right. They got them to be the advocates, but they didn't manage their online reputation. And so this process, for me, is what threw me for a loop, because I'd spent so much of my time and energy in creating this trusted referral piece, but I completely ignored what happens with my online reputation. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is that we all have an online reputation. This is what it came to me. We all have an online reputation. The question is, are we aware of it, and is it a reputation that we actually want? Does it represent the brand that we want? And so because of this internet and the transparency that's happening, people have a place to go when they're upset. People have a place to go when they don't feel like they've been heard and they can't come to the client directly. They can go online, they can see the review post up, and now they see that they get the feedback, somebody listened to them, and something's happening. So with this whole piece here of trust, that it's changed. It's not only building trust one-on-one and interpersonally, but we've got to build trust through these other devices. We've got to build trust through all these devices saying, that don't always give us access to the handshake, to the eye contact. And all of these devices are now going to the consumer saying, hey, trust me, trust me, trust me, where they can go crazy. They don't know who to trust. And so now they start searching out for things from collective nature. It's almost like ask the audience of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. What does the audience really think? They don't know the audience, but they're looking for the collective view of something that they can trust. So That example is really what is the foundation of what the concept of psychology of trust in the digital age. And as Eric said, my background is in behavioral neuroscience. And so in the workshop that we're going to do in Vegas, we're going to go into the psychology, actual brain function, what happens and how do we turn that brain psychology into a customer service opportunity, into new scripting, and into new conversations that can add value. So I want to give you, kind of close this out with some eye-opening statistics, because you're hearing me tell you the story, but really what are the statistics saying? And I'm going to begin with some older statistics. I like to begin with a little bit older, and I want to end with what's current. But right now, traffic to the top 10 review sites grew an average of 158%. This is about 4 years ago. 97% of people who made a purchase based on an online review found that review to be accurate. This is back in 2007. So the trust for online reviews is growing. 92% have more confidence in information found online than they do in anything from a sales clerk or other source. Sales clerk being every single one of us on this call. Think about that. 92% of people trust what they find online more than they trust you. That to me seems so backwards, but it's a reality we're facing right now from the Wall Street Journal. So people that go on, so 70% of people trust unknown users, 20%, 7% trust experts, 14% advertising, 8% trust celebrities. To me, doesn't that seem backwards? That you want to trust an expert. Things that I've taught my clients on how to become an expert, better advertising, and in essence be a celebrity through creating leverage. But people are trusting unknown user. 75% of people don't believe that companies tell the truth in their advertisements. So all this money we spend to try to build trust through advertising and branding, 70% people don't think that they tell the truth. 70% of people consult reviews before making a purchase. Now this is 2008. Look at what the number is now in 2013. It's 85%. 85% of people are consulting reviews or ratings before purchasing something. 7 in 10 people who read reviews share them. Think about this. 7 out of 10 people who read a review actually would share them, which now amplifies their impact. 34% of people turn to social media to air their feelings about a company, 26% to express dissatisfaction, and 23% of products to share with companies or products that they like. Think about that for a minute. I show this slide because I think, Eric, at some point you wanted to do a webinar on this. What I tell people is that the most important thing you can preserve with your clients right now is an open channel of communication. You have to, at all costs, at everything, preserve that channel of communication to ensure that if people are dissatisfied, they come talk to you, an individual, first. Because what happens is, if they're dissatisfied and you aren't open, you can't get a hold of you, you aren't willing to listen to them, they're going to turn online. And guess what? There are millions of people just waiting to listen to them. And so we have to make sure that we preserve that open channel of communication. So why do people share? 46% feel that they can be brutally honest, so that nobody's watching, right? 38% try to influence others with what they express. So here's the thing, if anybody doing online marketing, reviews on a site can boost conversion rates of over 20%. Conversion, over 20%. That's a huge impact. Now, here's the stats from last year, 2013, that have summed up. I want to just share 2 of these. These are the ones that really were the foundation of why we began this, betterloanofficers.com. Number 1, 79% of consumers trust on reviews just as much as they trust a personal referral. Going back to my story of the Amarada Hotel, I had a personal referral and I had an online review. I went with the online review. And if we go back to this, people can recommend something, but we have all sorts of reasons and justifications as to why this online review, for some reason, we trust more. And then 85% of consumers check online reviews to determine which business to use. So with just these 2 thoughts, to me, makes the case of saying, okay, not only do we have to learn how to build trust with clients, handshakes, and following through, and all the things we talked about before, but we have to make sure that we not ignore this powerful force out there of online transparency and online reputation. And so as we look at this, as we think about this, what I hope that's going through your mind is, number 1, either you're on the camp of saying, yep, I get it, I've seen it, I've seen what's going on out there, and I'm doing something about it, or if this is new information for you, then I hope that this is turning to, okay, the question is, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? And those of you, whichever camp you are in, this is the reason why we started betterloanofficers.com was to give people a place, the professionals, to showcase the reviews, showcase how good they've been, to give a clients and realtors a chance to review them. BetterLoanOfficers.com, it's a free account that you can go and set up. And there's ways to upgrade to getting a professional membership as well. But it's a very simple process. If you go on to BetterLoanOfficers.com, you'll see a short video where I tell a story, and then you can create your own profile. Now, in about 15 days, we are going to have, actually within the next 7 days, we are the 4th company to strike a relationship with NMLS and Consumer Access. We now have, within the next 7 days, we will have every single loan officer within our system with a live data feed back to NMLS. Every loan officer in our system will be verified. You will be in there. Everybody on this call will be on there already. It's just whether or not you've claimed your profile or not. And it's free to claim it. Just I want to be clear on that. But realtors are going to be reviewing. We've started a relationship with NAR to be there, beginning the talks with being their review source for helping real estate agents find the best loan officers. Of course, consumers are going to be hearing about this. So I urge you to get on there, claim your profile, and start managing that reputation. Now, Eric had asked me to provide an incentive for at least a discount for members of this call. So again, currently this is going to be changing within the next 2 weeks. I would urge you to get involved with this. If you do want to get involved with it sooner rather than later, because our pricing is going to be going up. But basic free account, you get basic profile metrics, access to the Learning Center, and your status would not be verified. At $149 per year, again, we wanted to make this a no-brainer. You get what we call an ethos verification, which is that you've been vetted out. We make sure that everything's clear on what you want to work for the company you say that you work for, etc. Your search results get moved to the top. You get email notifications when reviews are left, and profile gets moved to the top. As a professional member, though, you get a lot of other features around social media sharing. You get your own personal profile, unbranded site. Right now, anytime you invest in review sites and you send a client there, you're basically sending them to a list of your competitors. With a professional membership, you get a private site on mymortgagepage.com, which has none of our branding on it, none of our buttons, none of the fine features that we cannot search out in professionals. It basically looks like your own personal review site. We're going to do webinars on a weekly and monthly basis, social media sharing tools. You can embed your profile on your website, etc. And for those of you that want to get started, if you enter the promo code MA for Maximum Acceleration 2014, we will take off $100 off your professional membership, and you can ignore the valid through July. That was for a previous webinar on his piece here. So that's pretty much it. And basically that you're going to get a professional membership for the price of the verified membership at $149 a year if you enter that code. So, Eric, I will hand it back to you because I know I'm past my time, and I want to thank all of you for being on the call today.
Definitely. Well, guys, as you can see, Rene has a wealth of information to share, and one of the things that we did not get time to share because of some of the technical difficulties that we're having, which you make sure you want to come out to the NAMB National Conference and hear about, and of course, we'll have Rene back on as a guest presenter to share some of the valuable things. I mean, but just like he shared with some of the statistics and some of the outline of what is going on online. You guys have all seen the issue of and the challenges of what's going, what negative comments on a website can do to your reputation in a community, affecting people who don't even know you yet. And I mean, think about just the dynamic of how people shop differently today versus how they shopped 15, 20 years ago, and think about the real estate community as well. Your buyers go online first when it comes to shopping for property. As a result, when they go online first to shop for real estate, likely it is you're going to be connecting with agents on sites like Trulia and Zillow and some of those kind of places, and likely it is when they start to see your name as a recommended loan officer by a realtor, the very next thing they're going to be doing, because they're already online, is they're going to do a Google search of who you are. And the reality is if you're not proactively managing your online reputation and using it as a customer service opportunity when people do post negative comments, to be able to address those comments and try and create some resolution with that particular client, you don't stand a chance. You're going to be losing an opportunity before the opportunity really even presents itself. So guys, feel free to go ahead and post some questions here in the website. There are some questions that just people addressed, or a couple of questions I've seen come through just has general questions about the cost of the NAMB National Conference. I guess I can address it really quickly. Of course, travel and hotel rooms are available at the Luxor. You can get information from the NAMB National website. I believe they have $119 or $129 a night rooms available for the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of the conference. Available Saturday night and Sunday night, especially in Las Vegas, for $119 a night is a pretty good deal, especially at a great place like the Luxor, which is where we're actually going to be for the conference. Of course, you can get your ticket for the conference for $345 in advance, or they will be $399 at the door. So if you want to save about $50, you're welcome to go ahead and go to the website now and go ahead and register in advance. Go ahead and keep posting comments or questions. Rene, I know you've got to jump. I know you've got another meeting you've got to jump back into almost immediately here. But guys, if you want to go ahead and post any questions for Rene, we'll make sure that we get a chance to answer those questions, especially if those of you who are not going to be able to attend the NAMB National Conference live. Think about what you need to be doing to manage your profile. If nothing else, go to the BetterOneOfficers.com website, create your own profile, and link it back to your own website, your blog page, and your social media sites, so that at least customers have a place to go. And you can start even using that free profile as a way of generating comments, asking for reviews, encouraging your happy customers who are already saying, "Wow, you guys did a great job. Thank you for such a wonderful and smooth transaction. Great. Well, Mr. Customer, would you mind going on to my profile page and leaving some positive feedback or commentary there?" Of course, they'll be able to get to it fairly easily if you already have your profile page linked to your other online marketing. And you can do all of that for free if you just go back and claim your profile at BetterLoanOfficers.com and register with your name information and an MLS ID number. There was another question in here. Rene, by the way, are you still on the line, or are you still able to take 2 quick questions?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. One of the questions asked is, did BetterLoanOfficers.com buy the LO information from NMLS?
What I can share is that we've got a very, very confidential relationship with them, and so we've got it's a very good relationship, one that's mutually beneficial to both parties. And the reason why they're partnering with us is that they believe in our vision, they believe in what it is that we're trying to do, and so right now they've only partnered with 4 companies because that list is a very important list. So we are under a lot of regulation and a lot of I would say a lot of good controls to make sure that we protect that list, and so that I guess that's as much as I can share right now. But we will be listed on their website, and they are very supportive of what it is we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who haven't had an opportunity to work with Rene as closely as I have over the last couple of years, I can tell you that there's nobody in our industry of higher integrity than Rene, and his team is, I have to assume, of the same caliber, knowing what I know about Rene and how he builds his companies. And so, keep in mind that list is, CSBS, the Conference of State Bank Supervisors, is not going to turn that list over to just anybody. And, they're looking for, in fact, Rene and I have talked about some of the limits in place about what he can and can't do with that list, and how it's going to play out as far as the communication elements of things.
Well, just to be technical, it's actually not even a list. It's going to be a direct data feed with them, so it'll be updated as per what your NMLS ID reflects, and so it's a true integration with them. So it's not a list that we have access to. It's not going to be a marketing list. We cannot market to it. We will not market to it. We have no desire to. This is moreover, we want to have a very verified. We want to be the source of the most true and accurate information, and a place where, for me, I've been searching for, how do you make this, if you leave that page up, how do you make this something that's valuable to the loan officer? So at the end of the day, you want to build a review so you build trust, and so we're creating a very simple button called Refer Me. And that button basically takes all of your reviews, takes your profile picture, all the stars that you have, everything that you have, and puts it in a very beautifully laid out, professionally designed packet, PDF file as well as emailable file, where your realtors can now, when they say, okay, who's the loan officer that you use, they can click a button on their phone and send that packet right to the realtor, or right to the loan officer, or excuse me, right to the consumer. Or if I was a loan officer, I'd print off a few of those packets, a stack of those packets, for that realtor to be able to hand over, and it basically becomes a story of your brand and who you are, and testimonials of what it is that you do and how to get a hold of you. But we want it. It's going to be. We are putting so much into the design of this that we want to be so beautifully designed that all this the time that you invest in gathering your reviews, that you can sum all that value up in one click of a button, or that you can get referred.
That's awesome. There is one question that came through here real quick, Rene, that I wanted to ask, which is, at the end of the day, what happens when some, especially with this being tied to NMLS, and in some cases I think people may be even a little bit afraid of that, hearing that, in that it's like that, high school transcript permanent record thing we were all threatened about when we were kids. Don't do that or it'll be on your permanent record kind of thing. And I think there's some fear out there of what somebody who, for whatever reason, gets bent out of shape or disgruntled about something, they didn't feel like we gave them the bend over backwards impossible deal that they thought they deserved, and they're just an obnoxious, irritating type individual that every once in a while we run across. What happens if somebody like that?
So what do you do with a bad review?
Right, especially when it's an untrue representation of who I am as an originator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, right now, if you get a review, a negative review on any of the other sites, you're stuck with that review. It goes nowhere. You can't call anybody. You can't get it removed. You can't do anything. We have, for professional members, get access to what we call the dispute button. We know that the best customer service opportunities happen after mistakes have been made or something's happened. We're all normal. We're all natural. We're human. Things happen. And we also know that some people have it out for you. Some people just, for some reason, they want to do damage. And so if there is a review out there that isn't valid and that you feel is not worthy, or it just isn't right, we have a dispute button. So you hit that dispute button, that review comes down, and we enter an investigation. The purpose of that investigation, though, number one, if they don't contact us, if they can't provide verification of who they are, and every review that we have is verified, so we will have access to who they are. But if they won't get a hold of us, then that review is going to be very hard to verify, and so it will come down. But the other piece is we want to turn that review, that into a customer service opportunity. And here's what I mean. You go to a steakhouse and you order a steak, and it's medium. You want a medium rare. It comes out well done, and they come out. Manager says, "How was your steak?" And you let them know, "Hey, you know what? The service was slow, and the steak was overdone." And you're upset. I mean, you're about ready to tell everybody. The manager comes back out and says, "You know what? I'm so sorry for your service. That's not who we are. I'm so sorry for the steak. That's not who we are. We represent. But I want to comp your meal today." And all of a sudden, that experience turned into such a positive one. Number one, because we understand people make mistakes, and we also understand that this manager went out of their way to make it better. And now all of a sudden, the loop is closed in a positive sense, and we almost feel better about the place because of what happened. So we want to turn that and give the loan officer an opportunity to turn that into a customer service win for them. And so the dispute button is something that's available. We're the only service that has something like that out there. And so, yeah, very, very, very good question. But we want to put control back in the loan officer's hands around their own reputation.
Mm-hmm. So not necessarily like an open forum, like a forum on a blog page or something like that, where you can destroy bad reviews and only post good reviews, which loses some credibility in the consumer market level. But not like sites like Angie's List or Yelp or places like that where you really don't have any opportunity to dispute those things. At least you'll have an opportunity to address it. And, Rene, you and I have talked about a couple of times actually putting together a program talking about some of the psychologies of customer service and how to tackle those interviews and so sort of a step-by-step how to address it. That I know you and I have talked about putting something like that together. I'll reach out to Brian. I know you've got to run. Guys, we're going to go ahead and move towards wrapping up the Q&A at this point. Of course, if there are additional questions you have of Rene, I know Rene has to jump. He's got to get into another meeting here. Was gracious enough to join us for the short little bit of time he had available today, and thank you very much for that, Rene. I guess I'll give you one last opportunity just before I know you have to jump off, if you'd like to leave any parting thoughts with the audience.
No, I want to say thanks for the time, and I hope that, if anything, I've made you a little bit paranoid about online reputation, and hopefully given you a real simple step that you can do to start taking control of it. And so I'd urge you to get on the site and claim your profile and start having some fun with it. So thank you all, and again, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you again, Rene, and I look forward to seeing you next week out in Vegas, and we'll definitely have to connect and organize that customer service, psychology of customer service webinar that we've been talking about doing for weeks. It's just a matter of pulling it together. So thank you once again for joining me today.
I look forward to it.
But, yeah, definitely. Thank you, guys. All right, so as Rene has to jump off here, there's just a couple of things I wanted to preview for all of you. Again, feel free to go ahead and post questions into the chat function or the Q&A function of the webinar platform at this time. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to give you just a couple of updates and questions, answers to some of the questions that have been asked a little bit. Of course, Rene is going to be our opening keynote speaker at the event. He is going to be providing a much more in-depth program to some of the mechanics of neurology and how people establish trust and what to do with somebody who's in an upset or disgruntled or unsafe feeling position where they're in a very defensive position, which is very much often how customers approach us. They're scared, they're hesitant, they're afraid, they don't understand what we do, and they know it's an important commitment. They're looking for that guidance and support. They want to trust somebody, and they're going to places like Google searches and Yelp.com and places like that to be able to begin to get that trust. And just so you know, by the way, guys, I want to reemphasize one last thing just before I jump too much into this. I don't know if you guys actually caught the pricing. I know Rene went over it very, very quickly. The regular membership is $149 a year. $149 a year. And it's less than it's about the same price as your annual state license renewal. In fact, in my case, it's less than what it costs me a year to maintain my state license at the professional level. Of course, by the way, there is a free option, which is just managing your profile and seeing what comments are being there. And obviously, you'd want to weigh, you want to encourage your clients to post positive feedback and comments about you because it is going to be associated with your NMLS ID number, and you'll want to make sure that you are influencing that to the best of your ability by those customers that do know, like, and trust you and have given you positive feedback. Encourage them to go to the veteranloanofficers.com page and list their positive commentary and review on this site to help boost your visibility and search ranking. But if you want to be able to have some of the more advanced features that Rene talked about, where you're going to have the opportunity to address and have those negative feedback comments verified, going to the professional level, entering the MA 2014 discount code will give you essentially the professional membership, which is only $250 a year, or just a hair over $20 a month if you look down on a monthly basis. Enter the MA 2014 code, you get the professional membership for a year for the price of the regular membership, the $149. Guys, $20 a month for a site that allows you to manage and control your online reputation, and by the way, it will have a positive impact on SEO and search rankings as well. I can't think of a better investment that you could make. If you'd like more detailed information about the NAMB National Conference, for those of you who've asked more information about it, many of you have been posting questions about the cost and involvement. Guys, I encourage you to go to the website, look at the agenda, think about the quality and caliber of some of the speakers. The last 3 weeks of our webinar series have been dedicated to companies and service providers who are going to be sponsors and exhibitors at the NAMB National event. Of course, myself and the Maximum Acceleration team are going to be there as well in support of this wonderful organization who is dedicated to creating the best future possible for the independent-minded originator, the entrepreneurial mortgage banker, broker, and independent mortgage professional. Basically, everybody other than the biggest of the big depository institutions are who NAMB National is here to represent and protect. And their commitment and dedication over the last 40 years is something to be truly acknowledged, even through the toughest and darkest days of 2008 and 9 and the recession and the financial collapse and everything, this organization was fighting for you and doing everything in their power to maintain a level playing field. The quality of relationship they've been able to establish with regulatory organizations like the CFPB and these Conference of State Bank Supervisors is a big part of the reason why companies like BetterLoanOfficer.com and Rene and his team have been able to have an opportunity to help connect a feedback and comment site to something that allows you an opportunity to, I mean, if you think about this from a positive impact, how bad would it have been if NMLS decided to go to a site like Yelp and use it as the preferred loan officer feedback site to direct consumers toward when they had complaints? And when they did so, you didn't have any opportunity to refute or defend yourself in those complaints, and it becomes one of those kind of guilty until you can prove yourself innocent type of situations. You know, it's organizations like NAMB that make it possible for us to work as a community for the betterment of our consumers and the betterment of us as individual professionals in protecting the ability and the right of being able to do what's right for your consumer and to be able to operate in an independent environment to have that flexibility. So come on out, support the organization, attend. There's going to be some great learning opportunities. I'll tell you, of all the different conferences throughout the year, this is one of the most affordable to attend. When you can get tickets in advance for only $345, you'll talk, you know, between airfare and hotel, probably around $800 to $1,000, depending on where you're coming from and how long you're staying or whether you extend the trip or not. You know, for less than $1,500 all in, to be able to have access to kind of training content and quality of materials and resources that are going to be presented at this conference, there just simply is not a better investment in the industry than participating at this event. It's at a great venue. It's in a great location. It's easy for people to get to. The rooms are affordable, and you're going to be able to hear and interact with in a very intimate environment great speakers and great thought leaders in our industry, including the NAMB board, folks like Rene Rodriguez, my team at Maximum Acceleration, Matt Hansen and his team from Simple Nexus, who was on our webinar series a couple of weeks ago, James Charlotte and his team from CRE Credit Repair, and a lot of other folks. And of course, at the conference, you want to make sure you get the best opportunity to capture those key ideas and talking points of each session, the actionable content that you want to make sure gets implemented. So make sure when you get to the conference, stop by and grab a copy of the action guide. These are being provided free to all attendees. And by the way, anybody on this webinar who is not able to attend the conference live, you'd like to be able to get that information on how to access that system for any other future conference you'd attend or any speaker at a local event, use those note pages as a way of capturing key actionable ideas. And then the action guides part, there's from page 18 to the end of the book is a step-by-step walkthrough of how to build a strategic plan to make sure those ideas get implemented. Of course, I'll be following up with some more information about that here in just a bit. After the conference, what we're going to do is we're going to do a follow-up session called Ideas to Action. Brad Korn and I and possibly a couple of other the coaching the coaches here at Maximum Acceleration are going to help you step-by-step walk through and take those best ideas and actually create a step-by-step action plan to guarantee that those best ideas get implemented as you move through the tail end of 2014 and 2015, making sure that those ideas are being followed through on, giving you all the tools, resources, and materials you need to make sure that those best ideas that you get from the conference are going to be implemented. Of course, many of you are you know, impatient enough to want to jump into taking action right away. So, of course, those of you who are serious about taking your business to the next level and are looking for one-on-one or small group accountability and coaching support, that outside perspective and strategic planning and guidance, if you're interested in finding out more about what coaching can do for you in the growth of your business, you're welcome to participate in what we call our strategy session, which is basically the best way we found to help people understand the value of coaching is to actually let them experience it. We do this via what we call a strategy session. We'll spend a good portion of that hour program talking in depth about one particular issue or challenge or opportunity that you as an originator are facing, or as a manager or owner of a company are facing. We'll walk you all the way through the planning process down to a specific set of actions. We'll give you tools and resources that will help support you in that action plan as well. And through the course of that conversation, we'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons of the coaching, what the commitments are on both sides, and help you make some decisions on if it makes sense, how, or if, when, and how it makes sense to move forward with some coaching if it's to your benefit. Of course, there's no cost or obligation for those strategy sessions. It's just something we feel is the right way to move as far as helping people truly understand the value of coaching and what it can do for you to grow your business. The other option is if you're just curious and want to know a little bit more before you commit some time to one of those strategy sessions, well, we do offer a group demo, which actually the next one is coming up September 9th, which is a week from today at 11 o'clock Central. We'll be doing a live interactive demo, kind of a brief overview of the coaching program and what are some of the tools that we utilize in that process. We'll take some live coaching interaction if you're interested in getting a short micro session. We'll address one particular issue or problem, give you some feedback and guidance and some tools that will help support you in the growth implementation of those ideas. And then, of course, we'll take some live Q&A about the Maximum Acceleration Program and what it offers to you or affords you as far as growth potential. If you're interested in participating in that or any of our other upcoming webinar series, that or the Ideas to Action program I mentioned a few minutes ago, just go to the mxlcoach.com/webinars website, and that is where you'll be able to access that information. All right, one last thing. Give me 30 seconds here right before we jump off. Put ideas into action. There's one last thing I want to challenge you to do before you jump off today's program. You've invested an hour of your time at this point in this program. You've heard some great ideas from myself and Mr. Rene. We've shared with you some key ways that you can accelerate your trust online. What I want you to do is take 30 seconds before you answer that next phone call or before you return that next email and decide what was the one most valuable idea you want to implement first. Second, decide what is the next action or set of actions you need to take to make that idea a part of your daily business going forward from now on. Third, decide by when you're going to have that action implemented. And fourth, decide who will hold you accountable. We all know that it's so easy to break the promises we make to ourselves. It's so much harder to break the promises we make to each other. And I think about it from this perspective. Let's say I wanted to lose some weight and I want to start jogging. Okay, so I do it as a New Year's resolution. So, okay, maybe I don't get up January 1st and go jog because I was out too late up to midnight, the whole thing, right? January 2nd, I go jogging, push it farther than I probably should. January 3rd, I go out jogging, and I don't go quite as far, and I'm a little more sore, and I go at a little slower pace. January 4th, I go out, and I barely make it around the block. January 5th, it's cold and wet and nasty outside, and I'm sore, and my muscles ache, and I just don't feel like going out and jogging that day, so I hit the snooze button and I never go jogging again. But how much different would it be if I knew I had a running buddy depending on me? So it's January 5th, and it's still cold and wet and nasty outside, and I still feel miserable because I overdid it the first 3 days. But I know my buddy's on my doorstep at 5:30 to go jogging. I probably will get up and go, as I know you would as well. That power of accountability, that external person who is someone we can trust and somebody we respect and somebody that's going to be there consistently to hold us accountable to those action plans, is the most valuable resource in making sure that we follow through on the ideas that are important to our growth and our strategy. So if there's anything else my team or I can do to help support you and accelerating your growth, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and ask. In fact, if you'd like to take advantage of one of those strategy sessions, feel free to go ahead and post so in the Q&A section of the webinar platform right now. Go ahead and post the best phone number and email address for our team to get a hold of you, and we'll be able to our team will reach out to you and get something scheduled with one of our coaches in a one-on-one strategy session to be able to take advantage of that. For those of you watching this program on video who didn't have the opportunity to participate live, of course, go ahead and always go to the mxlcoach.com/strategy site, which will allow you to give us the contact information we need to be able to coordinate scheduling with one of our coaches. Keep in mind, guys, these sessions are filled on a first-come, first-served basis. We only have a handful of these sessions available each week with the capacities that our coaches have. It is a one-on-one coaching session that you will have with one of our highly trained and accredited coaches that do these strategy sessions, so you will have a live, real-time coaching experience with one of our coaches, which will help you determine whether it makes sense to pursue coaching now or in the future. With that being said, if there's anything else my team or I here at Maximum Acceleration can do to help or support your growth better, please do not hesitate to ask. Our only goal is helping you get from where you are to where you want to go as fast as humanly possible. And to that end, if there's anything else we can do to help or support you in that respect, please do not hesitate to give us a shout and let us know. Otherwise, you can always check out upcoming events at the mxlcoach.com/webinars page. And with that being said, I'm going to leave I'm going to go ahead and shut off the recording at this point. I'm going to leave the platform open for just a few more minutes for folks to